So I'm not 100% sure what order these videos are going to go out, but I literally said in a different video that I really wanted to do more Deadpool movie content or Deadpool and Wolverine content. And yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing today, because I really just want to talk about the things that I enjoyed about the movie, the things that, well, I would love to see more of in the movie, and so on and so forth. Now, I want to talk about this just briefly. Obviously, we had a plethora of Wolverine that we were actually able to see, and obviously we got the so-called worst Wolverine, who's the one we ended up with, right? It's basically a character that failed all of his friends, failed his family, failed the X-Men, and it was awesome to see the character development that he goes through. But there was a plethora of Wolverine that we went through, all up until we got the one that we got. So I really did enjoy, obviously, the Wolverine that we did get, because holding some of those morals, during this movie was some of the greatest parts of this movie specifically, right? Him holding Deadpool to being a good person, or basically telling him, like, you're not a good person, like, you need to be one. There's a reason why you're not an Avenger, blah, 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 blah. And on top of that, we know that this Logan, or this Wolverine, is a good person to a certain extent. He just made a really big mistake that could have been, let's be honest, prevented in the long run. But now let's talk about the other variants that actually we saw. Now, we saw an Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, which I thought was awesome. And by the way, I don't know a ton about, because I did minor research on these specifically. But the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine I thought was awesome. The eye patch Logan we ended up getting as well, which was pretty damn cool in my opinion. Very, very mob boss type of Logan, or at least that's what it felt like. And then we also got a different version of an old man Logan, which honestly, this is one of the versions of Logan that I would love to see in the future. I know we did get an old man Logan kind of in the actual canonical like series of movies, but I would love to see him actually be this old man Logan. I like the country western type of version of Logan. I mean, he's using a gun and stuff like that. I always thought that was super cool, like watching these, let's be honest, powerful beings that are now older in kind of the series of movies, and now they're more western, more brutal. I mean, this guy you could tell he was no nonsense, and he was ready to, just pop Deadpool like a balloon, which I found to be absolutely hilarious and also awesome in the same sentence. We also got a Short King Wolverine, which, by the way, obviously I am a comic casual, so when you hear this, you're gonna be like, well, I'm not that surprised about this. I didn't know that Wolverine, in the canon of Wolverine, or the comic version of Wolverine, was actually extremely short. I had no idea about this, and I found it hilarious when watching the movie. But of course, we also got our very own Wolverine, which I thought was pretty damn cool. I think a lot of the fandom was talking about Henry Cavill maybe taking on the role of Wolverine in some sort of fashion, and seeing like a little nod to the whole Henry Cavill, or what Deadpool called Wolverine, I thought was pretty damn awesome. But the one I frankly made this video and wanted to make this video about, of course, your typical Wolverine, but he's actually in a kind of brown and yellow suit, and it's awesome, right? It is freaking beautiful, because you get him to, like, pull out the claws or shoot out the claws, and you could see the kind of image of the Hulk come into view. It's like a reflection off of his claws, and you could see the Hulk. And this is, let's be honest, the Hulk that we all love, right? Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, Thor Ragnarok Hulk, he was alright. He was okay. Like, he was still kind of like your typical Hulk, but we all loved the crazy, insane rage monster, Hulk that frankly we kind of needed more of. I would have loved to see more of that rage monster Hulk. I mean, that Avengers 1 Hulk, I always thought was an amazing Hulk, especially in the live screen. And then we got, like, the smart Hulk and stuff like that, which in my opinion, not the biggest fan of, and maybe that's a casual take, I'm not too sure, but personally, I wasn't the biggest fan of that version of the Hulk. So seeing the Rage Monster version of the Hulk and this kind of canon, or him jumping through universes, I was completely ecstatic about it. I was extremely happy that it happened the way it happened, because I was like, oh, come on. Like, I wish we could get more of this. And on top of that, we also got Deadpool quoting, or at least quoting Loki in his own way by calling himself Marvel Jesus, or he basically tells him, like, I'm Marvel Jesus, you dull creature, and then he gets smacked, like, extremely far, just like, Loki would, or something like that. He either gets picked up and thrown or smacked really far, and it's honestly hilarious seeing that. But of course, that was awesome, and that was cool. The whole scene with Deadpool was awesome, but it just made me want to see a battle between Hulk and Wolverine even more. Now, could the battle in live action be kind of mediocre? I mean, there's a good chance that it would be. I'm not gonna lie, right? It all depends on the budget, depends on the storyline, kind of setup and stuff like that. There's a good chance that the fight would be mediocre, because if the budget ain't high enough, we know that it's not gonna be that good. And in my opinion, you have to do Rage Monster Hulk. If you don't do Rage Monster Hulk, where he is completely out of control, completely angry, and all of the above, I do not want it. I do not want no smart version of Hulk fighting Wolverine. Do not give me that. I do not want it. I will not take it, and I will be extremely angry if I see it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just being transparent here. I would be extremely angry if we had a smart Hulk versus Wolverine. It would piss me the heck off. Now, with that said, there was some times that we have seen Hulk versus Wolverine throughout time. Now, this isn't in live action necessarily, unless I'm missing something, but I know he obviously has a fight in the comics, being that Hulk versus Wolverine. That's like the whole idea behind that whole scene is ripped from the comics. But we also got it in an animated form, right? We have the movie called Hulk Versus, I believe it was called, or The Hulk Versus. I haven't watched this movie in a long time, but I do remember it way back when, and it was awesome. It was great. I mean, yes, it was a pretty short fight to an extent, because it was a movie, right? It was a movie. It wasn't like full on just the Hulk versus Wolverine, but it was awesome. Watching kind of like Wolverine go against the Hulk, and it's obvious that in terms of raw strength, Hulk outmatches him by a lot, right? But at the same time, Wolverine is like this, well, I hope you guys understand this, because this is sort of from my generation, but maybe a little bit older. He's like this Rocky Balboa. He just keeps getting up and getting up and getting up, and he's fighting the Hulk, and he's just absolutely getting beat senseless. Like, there's a point of time where I'm pretty sure the Hulk is straight up wailing on him on the ground, like beating him down to the ground, and he's basically like, yeah, Hulk strongest, like, I'm the strongest. And it's a pretty damn cool fight scene and done really well. And overall, I just felt like, wow, if we could just get that, like that right there in a live action form, I'd be fine with that. I think that would be awesome. I mean, we even get a scene where this version of Bruce Banner is basically telling Wolverine, I almost called him Henry Cavill. This version of Wolverine is, or he's basically telling him, like, hey, like, don't do this. You should go away. Like, don't bother me. And Wolverine's telling him, like, you stink. Like, you smell of, like, monster, right? Because obviously he could smell kind of the Hulk on him. That's what he can smell. And he's basically, and Bruce is telling him, like, hey, stay away. I don't want to hurt you, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, the Hulk comes out to play, and an epic fight begins to break out. I mean, at the end of the day, a fight between Hulk and Wolverine would be just amazing. Now, in the animated form, it is cut a bit short because they're, like, tranquilized, if I remember this properly. And it's just cut short, and they're taken in and stuff like that. But the matchup is, at the end of the day, iconic. We have strength versus this absolute animal instinct and this ferociousness to Wolverine. We have Hulk with raw power, massive amounts of strength, and basically an unstoppable force. Like, that's what it feels like. And then we have Wolverine, who is the literal embodiment of ferociousness, agility, combat skill. And on top of that, he's like a primal animal that will do anything to win. Like, he will be unyielding, unrelenting. He will have massive amounts of tenacity. He will refuse to lose. And Hulk is a creature that wants to prove and show that there is nobody stronger. And it is crazy. I mean, we even get a bit of duality, right, with Bruce Banner versus Wolverine or Logan. But obviously, once Bruce Banner becomes the Hulk, then there is really no duality, right? We have Bruce Banner, who's a brilliant scientist, genius scientist. He has trouble controlling his anger and stuff like that. But the duality ends right when he becomes that green monster. There is no thinking, there is no being smart, there is no being a genius. It is Hulk versus Wolverine. It is basically an unstoppable force versus an unkillable object. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I would love to see this happen. And I truly believe that this is the Wolverine fight that we need to see on the live screen. Now, how do you do it? How do you make this happen? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure, right? We obviously have a couple things coming up, but maybe we get a crossover. Maybe we get a bit of a crossover, or even maybe a 1 to 2 minute battle between Wolverine and Hulk in some sort of like Secret Wars type of setting, or in some sort of like, you know, crazy multiversal battle and and stuff like that, right? I would love to see that happen. I think that should happen. And I think a lot of us would agree on the fact that a Hulk versus Wolverine fight would be amazing. And like I said, I want to make this very clear, guys. Like I said, I will be very mad if we get some arbitrary Hulk that is like some genius or something, you know, and goes against Wolverine. I'll take like, you know, Rage Monster Hulk, or, you know, some other Hulk that is like terrifying. Like, I'm okay with that. But if you give me something like kind of like the smart Hulk, where it's like the Bruce Banner Hulk, where he's all smart and stuff, as much as I enjoyed that somewhat in Endgame, okay, I'm lying. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I thought it was cool, like a cool little thing, but it was definitely not that enjoyable. But if I get that, I'm gonna be extremely angry. I'm gonna be mad. And I think we can all agree, or at least for the most part, most of us can agree, that if you're going to do this fight in live action between two of the greatest, some of the greatest heroes slash poster boys of the Marvel universe, that you have to make this a legendary battle. Like a legendary battle. Like, I honestly think that this battle should be somewhat put in some sort of universe where we have another Wolverine movie or another X-Men movie or something like that. I would hate to see a 1 to 2 minute fight out of them. I think it would be very irritating, but I want to see something. The fact that we see the claws come out and we see the reflection of OG Hulk, and then OG Hulk just beats on Wade or Deadpool briefly, sending him flying, and then that's all we get. Oh, I was so angry, guys. I was like, oh my. I was like, no way you're playing with my emotions like that. I would love to see it, and I want to see it, and I think that's a big money idea for them. Well, you know, not like I came up with the idea or anything, but I think it's a big money fight that a lot of people would be ranting and raving about seeing, as long as they do it right, as long as they properly do the fight, as always. And I feel like that's like a big, right? That's a big exclamation mark, like, or a big kind of circle. Like, you want to circle that. Like, as long as you do the fight right, we'll be good. Like, we'll be straight. You know what I mean? Like, we will be completely fine and we will be satisfied. Or at least I'll be satisfied. Now, with that said, though, I would love to hear what you guys have to think or have to say. What Wolverine fights from the comics, from animated TV shows, or anything like that would you personally love to see in the near future? From maybe the MCU or from some sort of live action type of thing. What Wolverine fights would you love to see? Like I said, I personally would love to see Wolverine go head-to-head with the Hulk. I mean, we just saw Deadpool and Wolverine go head-to-head, which was an absolute treat and a half, but I really would love to see the Hulk, an unrelenting rage monster, go against Wolverine, an unrelenting, unkillable rage monster, but in a different way. Now, with that said, though, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And like I said, though, if you enjoyed this video, YouTube believes that you'll enjoy this one, so might as well go check it out.